You're just jealous and stupid. Watch this timeline. After my wife cheated on me, she said it was just dinner with her ex, and I'm just jealous and stupid. I'm Logan, 34. My wife is Avery, 31. All winged eyeliner and that girl playlists, the kind of woman who turns a grocery run into a fashion show. We've been married 5 years, together 7, one townhouse, one rescue mutt named Nacho, and a camera roll that makes us look like an REI ad. Our friends called us goals. I called it comfortable. Maybe I confused steady with safe. The first crack whispered, not screamed. Avery started calling every plan a vibe, and every question controlling. Her phone, which used to live face up on the counter, developed migratory habits. Shower ledge, bra drawer, under a throw pillow like a squirrel stash. Notifications stopped previewing. Corporate told us to lock down devices, she said, even though she works in brand partnerships and their biggest security threat is a leaked oat milk collab. Then Thursday nights became sacred girls' nights, always ending late, always smelling like smoke and vanilla when she slid into bed. One night she kissed me, quick, distracted, and I caught cologne that wasn't mine riding shotgun on her neck. I told myself it was the bar. I told myself a lot of things. Her mom Dana, crystal bracelets, permanent soft focus filter, said I should be a man and let Avery be free. Her stepdad Rick, whose resume is mostly poker chips and side hustles, grinned and called me champ, which he says to men he thinks he can bully. My parents, Carol and Mike, run on nurse and mechanic stoicism. If the house was on fire, mom would hand you oven mitts, dad would open a window. It wasn't one thing. It was the playlist that swapped our songs for whatever guy named Kygo 2016 listens to. The neon wristband in our dryer. The Uber receipt that said side entrance, the Marlin. The new perfume she only wore on Thursdays. And the nail polish on my passenger floor mat, bright coral, not her shade. When I asked, she laughed too hard. I let my friend borrow the car, detective. I tried to be modern and not jealous. I downloaded a couples therapy podcast and fell asleep to 2 PhDs telling me to lean into curiosity. I leaned so far I toppled. Then Nacho did what dogs do, told on us by accident. He knocked Avery's tote off the chair, and a slim black phone slid out that wasn't hers. Burner. Calculator icon that opened to messages. The top thread was saved as Mara Spin. The preview said, tuck the ring tonight. Same table. Can't wait to taste Friday. Peach. Fire. A location pinned 3 miles from our house. I stood there with the dog hair and the grocery receipt and a buzzing rectangle that felt like a detonator. I told myself I'd put it back and talk like an adult. Instead, my thumb moved. The screen lit. The lies did too. That's when the crack became a line I could trace with my finger. And if you're still reading, that's where the story stops being pretty. I told myself I'd close the burner and breathe. Instead, I scrolled like a man leaning over a cliff and deciding the view was worth the fall. Mara Spin was not a Mara, not a spin buddy, not even trying very hard. The punctuation screamed mid-30s dude who thinks quoting The Weeknd counts as romance. The thread was a slow burn erotica of Thursdays, black silk under the blazer. Keep the ring tucked. Elevator kisses only till the door closes. A photo from the bar bathroom, Avery in a mirror, mouth paint fresh, the strap of something lacy sliding off her shoulder like it had a schedule. Not porn, just intimate enough to feel like a slap. Another ping popped across the top, calendar invite named Q4 forecast, set for 2 hours at the Marlin Hotel. Notes, same booth. Same order. Leave car 2 blocks up. There were Uber receipts timestamped 11:43 p.m., pickup, home, drop-off Marlin, side entrance, and a video icon in the thread. I pressed it with a thumb I didn't recognize. 5 seconds. Tilted angle. The camera pointed down at a hotel duvet, Avery's laugh, the breathy one she saves for right before, then a man's voice, low, confident, "Come on, Avies." The frame caught their hands, fingers lacing, her ring turned inward so it flashed without confessing. Old Rock hummed in the background. His laugh had that smug roundness I've heard at our grill-outs, like a guy always about to say, buddy. I checked the Apple ID. Not hers. But the shared family iPad on the kitchen shelf lit up at the same time. Our photo stream still pulled everything because I set it up on a Sunday when trust felt like tap water. The iPad, bless its nosy little heart, started auto-playing a live photo. Avery's bare knee hooked over a motel gray comforter, a rocks glass sweating on the nightstand, lipstick on the rim that wasn't the color she wears with me. Caption in the chat, "You taste like Friday." Peach. Fire. Knife. I airdropped the thread to my laptop, then to a hidden email I'd made years ago for concert pre-sales. Screenshots multiplied like roaches, a map pin, used the service elevator, a selfie with the camera held high, his ring-heavy hand resting on her waist. The rings. The voice. Somewhere in my skull a file cabinet labeled Nope popped open and dumped. The neon wristband, the side entrance, the perfume she only sprays in the hallway. Then the stupidest, clearest breadcrumb. A receipt in our joint email from a boutique hotel loyalty program I didn't know we had. Member name, Logan A. Email, mine. She'd signed up using my inbox and harvested the points in my name. The subject line said, "Congrats on silver." I laughed like a broken hinge. If you're wondering if I went ice cold or nuclear, the answer is neither. I went still. Still is where the earthquake sound lives. Still is where you start an audit and stop being a character in someone else's story. I set the stage like a courtroom. Coffee, manila envelope, my ring off. Saturday sun pretended everything was fine. Avery shuffled in wearing my college hoodie like weaponized innocence. "We need to talk," I said. Her mouth did that twitch, anger first, then she softened like a commercial. "Logan, please not before coffee." I slid the iPad across and pressed play on the 5-second hotel clip. Her pupils blew wide, then narrowed into fight. "Wow," she said, laughing sharp. "We're snooping now? It's out of context." "Give me the context." She tried the speed run. "I'm controlling. It was just dinner. He's an ex. We were networking. I never trust her. HR told them to lock devices. The video was old. The video was a joke. The video wasn't her." Then the pivot, tears on cue, voice smaller. "I've been lonely, okay? You work late. You stopped seeing me. Who's Mara Spin?" "A friend," she said too fast. "She's a girl." I opened the burner. The peach. The fire. The rocks glass. Her ring flipped. Avery's chin trembled, the performance cracking. She rounded the table, dropped to her knees so fast the chair squealed, palms hot on my thighs. "Baby, please." Got weird. It was once. Twice. Okay, 3. It meant nothing. She pressed her forehead to my knee like prayer. "We can fix it. We could explore, be more open. Just for a while. People do it. An open marriage isn't retroactive permission." My voice sounded like an elevator ding. She switched channels again, anger bright. "You're so dramatic. It was dinner. You're jealous and stupid. You didn't even come to my launch event. My mom says you suffocate me. Your mom also thinks Mercury is a personality trait." I laid out the receipts. Thursday's side entrance, loyalty points in my inbox, Q4 forecast calendar blocks at the Marlin. The doorbell cam still shot. Her at 12:41 a.m., hair stormy, laughing into her phone, a man at the curb lifting 2 fingers in a lazy salute. She stared, then aimed for nuclear pity. "I might be pregnant." The word hung like a trap. "We should slow down." "Cool," I said evenly. "We'll test today." She blinked. I threw them out. "We'll buy more." "You're controlling," she snapped, mascara wet again. I breathed, counted 8 like a therapist on a podcast told me to, and slid a single page across the table. Dates, times, hotel pins. No speeches. Timeline. Names. Or we go legal. She looked at the list, then at me, and did the thing I used to think meant surrender. Sank lower, on her knees, fingers lacing behind my calves like a seat belt. "Don't leave me," she whispered. "I'll block him. I'll quit. I'll change my number. I'll delete everything. I'll be who you want." I peeled her hands off gently, like seaweed. "Stand up," I said. "Truth first. Then we see if there's anything left to save." Outside, Nacho barked at nothing. Inside, I realized it wasn't nothing. It was the life I thought we had already walking down the street. Shock didn't explode, it leaked. I walked through Saturday like a guy in a museum of his own life, reading plaques. Our couch. Our mugs. Our wedding photo where I look like I know things. Avery floated around in my hoodie, crying in polite teaspoons, then switching to lava when I didn't console her on schedule. "You're punishing me," she said, like consequences were a kink. I tried the good man run. I booked couples therapy for Tuesday, bought tests on Sunday, made eggs I couldn't taste. We sat on the edge of the tub while the first stick blinked. Negative. Second one too. She stared at the little window like it owed her money. "Defective," she said, pitching them into the trash with theatrical disgust. "You're ruining us with paranoia." That night she climbed into my lap, apology perfume and damp eyelashes, whispering we could rewrite the story right now. The offer landed like a bribe. I tucked a blanket over her and slept on top of the covers like a guard dog with a GD. My parents came by with casserole and quiet. Mom squeezed my forearms and said, "We act, not spin." Dad opened the fridge and announced we were out of lemons, his code for I don't know what to say but I'm here. Avery did the tour, glassy tears for Mom, brittle smiles for Dad. After they left, she hissed, "You're making me perform for your family." I almost laughed. She'd been rehearsing for months. Therapy was a stage. Avery leaned back like a podcast guest. "Logan violated my privacy," she told Dr. Shah, who has the eyes of someone that's watched entire marriages disintegrate on a love seat. I said, I looked at a shared iPad that lit up by itself. Avery dabbed her eyes and offered the thesis she'd workshop for the next 72 hours. I felt unseen. Dr. Shah asked for a full timeline. Avery nodded, earnest as a kindergarten pledge. 20 minutes after we got home, I watched her on the porch camera whisper into her phone, "Delete everything." He's checking. That's the click. The deadbolt from maybe to no. I didn't throw a plate. I opened a notebook and wrote log across the top. Time, date, what was said, what was done, what was promised. I poured the wine down the sink, laced up shoes, and walked laps around the block until my thoughts stopped behaving like cats in a pillowcase. Her side of the family arrived with confetti cannons full of nonsense. Dana, crystals jangling, told me men provide, women evolve, like we were at a TED Talk for sociopaths. Rick leaned on our island and said, "Boys will be boys. Let her have her fun if she comes home." I stared at the man who taught Avery that consequences are a rumor, and something old in me hardened. I tried forgiveness anyway because I'm dumb like that. Separate bedrooms, a co-parenting app for Nacho like he's a toddler. Rule number 1. All logistics in writing. Avery called it cold. I called it Tuesday. At 2 a.m. I woke to her at my door on her knees, asking if I could feel us one more time so we remember. I said, "I remember the service elevator." She flinched like a light turned on. In the morning I scheduled an STI panel for both of us. She threw her keys at the wall. "You're disgusting." Then she cried, slid down the cabinet, palms up. "I'll go. I'll do anything." I wrote it in the log, promise, panel. Status, pending. My handwriting looked steadier than I felt. The spiral eased when I gave it rails. No booze. No late night speeches. Walk at dawn. Document. Choose dignity over dopamine. It didn't fix my heart. It gave my hands something honest to do. I didn't go scorched earth. I went spreadsheet. First move, a 3-sentence email to exactly 6 people. My parents, my sister Paige, my best friend Marco, and because they already had their noses pressed to the glass, Dana and Rick. Subject, pausing the marriage. Bullets only, dates, hotel timestamps, the burner thread labeled Mara spin. No adjectives. No bodies. Paige replied in 2 minutes, "You're not crazy. I've got you. Mom, dinner at 7. Rick wrote back a meme about alpha energy and asked if I could spot him $400 till Friday. I did not respond. Second, attorney. Ms. Ortega spoke in boxes and verbs. Document. Don't move out yet. Separate finances. Co-parenting app. No confrontations without witnesses. I slid the manila folder across. She flipped through screenshots until she got to the loyalty email with my name. "Revenge that ages well looks like competence," she said. "Start there." So I did. New bank account. Direct deposit moved. Joint card frozen to gas station limits. P.O. Box. Cloud folder labeled evidence with read-only access for Ortega. STI panel booked for both of us. Mine done by lunch. I left Avery's requisition on the counter with a post. "Please go today." She filmed herself crying for Instagram instead, a selfie captioned, "Healing from narcissists." Comments. Hearts from girls named Save and Tiff. I saved it to the folder because receipts were many outfits. My one petty justice, I called the boutique hotel program that had me at Silver. Transferred every point she'd earned under my email to a father-son weekend at a cabin Marco found. When the confirmation hit my inbox, I smiled for the first time in a week. Dignity with a wink. Then the skeletons started RSVPing. Anonymous email to my work account. FYI, Avery told the girls chat you're cool with him. Stop playing victim. Attached, a group thread where she bragged that open resets the power. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Forwarded to Ortega. Logged it. An unknown number rang. "Hi, I'm Kelsey," a voice said, tired, careful. "I'm engaged to Nolan." Nolan, Avery's ex. My scalp went cold. Kelsey had found my hidden email through a forwarded loyalty receipt. She'd lined up her calendar to mine and discovered our Thursdays were Siamese twins. "He called your wife, his quarterly performance bonus," she said flat. I thought you should know. We agreed, no mess, no public blast, just facts if needed. We hung up like people who'd performed surgery on themselves. Avery sensed the weather turning. She upped the theatrics. 1 hour it was venom, you're abusive for making me use an app to talk about the dog. The next it was worship. On her knees at the bedroom doorway, palms up, whispering bargains. I'll block everyone. I'll quit. I'll let you track my location. Please, Lo. Please. 10 minutes later on the porch cam, delete everything, he's lawyered up. Dana and Rick staged a driveway summit. Cupcakes and crystals. Men cheat with bodies, women with feelings, so really she didn't cheat, Dana announced, balancing a red velvet like a legal brief. Rick spit a sunflower seed into my azalea and said, you making this a big deal makes it a big deal. I closed the door softly and slid the lock. Through the glass they pointed at the ring cam and laughed. That night I set a rule, no more speeches. Only filings. I scheduled mediation, drafted a separation proposal, clean 90 days, split the bills, therapy optional after full disclosure, and packed a go bag with essentials for a lease I hadn't signed yet. On the kitchen table I left Avery 2 things, the lab order and a note in block letters. Friday came like a deadline in a horror movie. Avery handed me a timeline that read like Pierre, 2 boundary fails, 1 kiss, and 3 paragraphs about my emotional unavailability. I stapled it to a packet titled Evidence she forgot I already have and sent both to Ortega. Then the skeleton started knocking like they'd RSVP'd. First, the storage unit. She'd sworn it was wellness merch for a side hustle. The manager let me in because my name was still on the emergency contact card, set back when trust was just air. Inside, a shoebox of motel key sleeves rubber banded by year, Polaroids with dates sharpened on the back, a bar wristband that matched the neon one from our dryer, and a receipt for lingerie from a boutique an hour away. Avery never wore lace for me. I took photos, closed the box, logged it. No screaming. Paperwork. Next HR. An email inviting Avery to discuss conduct during work hours. She came home vibrating, mascara already weaponized. You ratted me out, she spat. I hadn't. The anonymous ethics report I sent weeks ago had finally found a spine. She paced, calling me a vindictive child, then collapsed mid-aisle sobbing, sliding to her knees, palms up. Please, Logan. I'll resign. I'll be the wife you deserve. Just, don't ruin me. 10 minutes later the porch cam caught her whispering, it's fine, I'll spin it. Kelsey texted, he's denying everything. She forwarded a message from Nolan, your fiancé is obsessed. I was mentoring her. Copy-paste lies. Then a gut punch, an attachment of his calendar. Thursdays lined up like runway lights with Avery's Uber receipts. Kelsey finished with, I'm moving out. We wished each other boring futures and put our phones face down. Dana and Rick escalated to a living room ambush. Dana jingled crystals and announced, families survive everything if you protect the unit. Rick leaned on the counter like a bouncer and said, champ, quit weaponizing paperwork. Avery tried every mask in the drawer. Outrage, you're abusive for making me text about Nacho on an app. Pity, on her knees, voice a whisper. Seduction, robe slipping just so. Then nuclear, I might be pregnant. Again. Great, I said gently. Let's go now. She stared. The lines were faint, she tried. We'll buy more, I said. We did. 3 negatives in a row. She called the tests defective and threw the boxes away like they'd insulted her. STI panel came back. I was clear. Her requisition still sat on the counter, damp with ring glass condensation marks. I circled please go and initialed the date like a foreman. She Instagrammed a quote about phoenixes. That night I checked the doorbell archive out of habit and found a June clip I'd never watched. 12:39 a.m., Avery guiding a man to the side gate, finger to lips, that same lazy 2-finger salute as he left. His silhouette looked like Nolan's gym selfies. My stomach did a slow roll. I took a shower long enough to fog the mirrors and said out loud to the tile, you're not crazy. Keep going. When I walked out, Avery was on the floor in the hallway, knees bruising the runner, mascara tracks like war paint. Don't leave me, she begged, clutching my calves. I'll sell my phone, quit my job, delete every man. I'll change my name. Her promises were beads on a broken string. Truth by Friday, I repeated, voice steady, or lawyers Monday. She looked up with eyes that had learned nothing and whispered, then I guess I'll see you in court. Ms. Ortega didn't blink when I slid the PR timeline across her desk. We file for a temporary separation today, she said, ticking boxes like metronome clicks. Mediation in 3 weeks. Keep the house routine stable. Don't move out until I say. Revenge by competence. I could breathe to that beat. The universe added its own percussion. The Marlin front desk called the landline no one uses. Hi, we found a bracelet in suite 412. Same name as your loyalty account. We'll keep it at the desk. Same suite. Same name. I thanked her, hung up, and stared at the lemon I'd been rolling in my palm like a stress ball. I don't even like lemons. Dad does. He texted, truck and coffee whenever you say go. I texted back soon. I went home to a performance in 3 acts. Act 1, Fury. Avery stood in the kitchen in a silk robe like a costume. You're humiliating me with your little lawyer, she hissed. My family thinks you're vindictive. Act 2, Collapse. She slid down the cabinet, knees to tile, clutching the belt of her robe. Please, Logan. I'll do therapy daily. I'll block everyone. I'll delete Instagram. She posted a beach boomerang an hour later. Act 3, Strategy. If you go through with this, I'll tell people you were abusive. She said it the way commuters say traffic. Annoying, inevitable. I unlocked my phone, opened the co-parenting app we were now using for a dog and typed, per counsel, all communications in writing. STI panel pending for you. Mediation date holds. Please confirm receipt. Her reply came through as if the app could transmit sent. You're sick. Then please don't do this. Then fine. The 3 faces of Eve and push notifications. Kelsey pinged me again. Nolan had told her we were swingers, which made me laugh loud enough to startle Nacho. She sent me a screenshot of him pitching Avery as a brand collab at a Vegas conference. Ortega added potential workplace exploitation to the file with the efficiency of a paper guillotine. Dana and Rick returned with reinforcements. Her brother Chase, sleeve tattoo, startup brochures that all say beta soon. He tried on my leather jacket as a joke, opened a beer without asking and announced, optics matter, bro. Dana clasped Avery's shoulders and whispered, cry softer. Rick said, if you ruin Thanksgiving, that's on you. My mother arrived mid-mess with Tupperware and a look that could level buildings. We're not mad at love, she told me quietly. We're mad at lies. At 9 p.m. my phone buzzed with a blocked number. A man breathing, then a hiss, you won't win. Nolan, brave behind no caller ID. I saved it, forwarded to Ortega, labeled it like a movie but dumber. Sunday I found my one flourish of petty justice. Remember those hotel points I moved? I booked the cabin and texted Dad and Marco a photo of a lake that looked like forgiveness. Avery saw the confirmation in my email and went nuclear. On her knees in the hallway, again, hands up like an offering. Please don't go. We can reset. New vows. I stared at a scuff on the baseboard until the urge to fix her passed. Monday, Ortega hit send on the paperwork. A courier knocked, service complete. Avery read the caption on the envelope, eyes flaring then wet. You can't do this, she whispered then louder. You can't do this. She lunged, fingers hooking my belt like absolution could be bartered. I stepped back. Stand up, I said. You can beg or you can sign. Either way, the clock started. Outside, the world kept doing Monday things. Inside, the myth finally heard the gavel. Movers showed at 8 a.m. like a rescue squad in gray t-shirts. Dad backed his truck in, thermos in the cup holder, jaw set to don't argue with my son. I took only what was mine, clothes, books, the cast iron she always scorched, the coffee grinder, Nacho's bed, the framed photo of us at the county fair where my smile looks like I knew less and liked it. I left the expensive vase Dana loaned, us still tagged, and the neon wristband I found in the junk drawer. Evidence lives in the folder now, not my pockets. Avery staged the foyer like a runway, silk slip, eyes wet, hands fluttering. You're checking out of our marriage like it's a hotel, she said. Then she dropped, knees on hardwood, palms up, again. Don't leave. I'll sell my phone, I'll delete every man, I'll let your mother track me, The promises piled until they sounded like spam. I stepped sideways and signed for the dolly. Dana filmed me on her phone like a TMZ intern. Optics, sweetheart, she cooed. Rick jangled car keys and said, you'll be back. Nobody does better. Chase tried to lift my toolbox and almost folded in half. Mom arrived with muffins and a look that made Dana put the phone down. The doorbell rang. 2 officers, hats in hands. We got a call about a possible welfare check, one said, eyes flicking to my boxes. Dana did a pity gasp. He's unstable. I blinked. I'm moving to a lease with a signed mediation date, I said, handing over papers like they were rosary beads. The officer peered at Nacho, at my labeled bins, at my face. Looks like you're handling business, he said, leaving me a card just in case. When they were gone, Dana hissed, "Drama doesn't look good on you." I shut the door softly and slid the lock. By noon the townhouse felt like a stranger wearing my sweater. I left a note on the fridge for the dog schedule and the co-parenting app we used like a custody plan. Nacho, Mon, Wed, Friday with me. Vet appointment Thursday 3 p.m. I stuck it under a magnet shaped like a taco. I put my ring back in the junk drawer next to dead batteries and the loyalty card that made me silver. The apartment smelled like sawdust and new paint and possibility. 2 rooms, good light, enough quiet to hear the bones settle. I hung a hook by the door for keys on purpose, set the cast iron on the stove like an anchor, and put the fair photo on a shelf low enough that I'd have to look at it or put it away. I brewed terrible coffee and drank every drop. Marco texted, "Gym tonight. Hit something that won't call you at 2 a.m. The boxing coach looked like a retired oak tree and taught me to keep my chin tucked in life and in the ring. The first time my glove met the bag with a clean thud, something inside me unjammed. I signed up for Tuesdays and bought a jump rope that made my lungs confess. Kelsey pinged me from a new number. Nolan had taken a leave. Also, she tested positive for chlamydia. "I'm telling you because it's ugly but necessary," she typed. I checked my panel again, felt a gratitude so sharp it almost hurt, and told her I was sorry for all of it. "Boring joy," she wrote back. "That's the dream." At 11 p.m., Avery sent 3 voice notes in a row, sobs, then threats, then a whisper, "Please don't replace me." I put the phone in a drawer. Revenge is loud, competence is quiet. I cooked eggs badly, walked Nacho under streetlights that hummed like a prayer, and stood in my own kitchen realizing the hum was mine. Mediation looked like jury duty for a crime I didn't commit. A beige room, a bowl of sad mints, a view of a parking lot. Avery arrived in white like a rebrand, hair slick, sunglasses she didn't take off. Dana trailed her with a tote full of tissues and audacity. Rick hovered in the doorway like security for chaos. Ms. Ortega laid out binders like stepping stones. The mediator cleared his throat. "Let's keep it factual." Avery went first. Tears on page 1. "Logan is vindictive. He monitors me. He won't let me heal." Ortega slid a tab packet across the table. Doorbell timestamps. Hotel receipts. The loyalty email with my name. The burner thread labeled Mara, spin, peach and fire emojis now looking painfully childish. The mediator looked at Avery. "Response?" she whispered, Photoshop, then pivoted to the floor, literally, slipping to her knees beside my chair, palms up. "Please, Lo. Don't make strangers decide us." Dana stage whispered, "Cry softer." The mediator slid a tissue box my way as if I might need it. We offered clean and boring. 90 days separated, each keeps personal property, I keep the apartment and my premarital savings, joint bills paid down by selling the spare car she never drove, co-parenting app for Nacho like he's the baby we never had, therapy optional after full disclosure. No disparagement, Ortega added. No viral posts, no whisper campaigns. Avery threatened to go public, and Ortega, bless the paper queen, tapped a folder labeled doorbell cam. Courts like evidence, not decibels. A notification pinged mid-session. HR had accepted Avery's resignation effective immediately. Her face went from porcelain to chalk. Another ping. Kelsey forwarded Nolan's leave of absence. Silence pooled in the carpet. Rick muttered, "Optics," again like a spell that had stopped working. Avery signed. The pen squeaked. Dana sighed like a theater curtain. On the way out, Avery tossed one last grenade without looking back. "You'll never do better." For the first time, the line landed with a dull thud. Not fury. Not sorrow. Just room. I used the stolen hotel points for what I said I would. A lake cabin with Dad and Marco. 3 men, 1 grill, a cooler full of reasonable choices. We fished badly, we ate charred corn like champions, we didn't say Avery once. Dad taught me a knot that only works if you pull steady. "Yank and it tangles," he said, sun carving his profile. Marco made me jab cross until my lungs wrote their resignation letters. At night the water knocked the dock like a heartbeat that didn't need my permission. Back home, boredom became a luxury brand. Tuesdays boxing, Thursdays I tried a thing I've always side-eyed, a community maker space. A guy named Dom, forearms like bridge cables, showed me how to turn rough oak into a bench that wouldn't wobble if I respected the grain. "Measure twice," he said, handing me the square. "Cut once. Or accept that you're learning and cut 3 times. I cut 3 times. We laughed. My palms got a new map of little honest hurts. Avery still cycled, angry texts at 2 a.m., then begging voice notes, then a photo of a quote about phoenixes. I saved what mattered to the folder and let the rest warp in the ether. When the old humiliation rose, maybe I wasn't enough, maybe I'm a JV husband, maybe she was right, I wrote it on an index card and sanded the bench until the thought fell quiet. Nacho slept at my feet, snoring like a small engine that never quits. I looked around the apartment one night, cast iron seasoned, key on the hook, a half-built bench under the window, and felt something I hadn't in months, not joy exactly. Space. The kind you can build in. The decree came on a gray Thursday that smelled like rain and printer ink. Ortega slid it across the table. Stamp. Initial. Done. Outside, the world did Thursday things, delivery vans, joggers, a kid dragging a trumpet case. Inside me, something unclenched I didn't know how to grip. Avery fired a last barrage, a carousel post, white dress, soft light, captioned rebirth. In my DMs, a voice note that sprinted from sobs to threats to a whisper, please Logan. Don't replace me. Dana called my mom to report I was emotionally unsafe, then sent me a Venmo request for spiritual services. Rick texted no hard feelings champ, and a link to his latest consulting venture. I let the requests expire like milk in July. Then the twist I didn't order, a welfare check. 2 officers at my door, hats in hands again. We got a call, you might hurt yourself. The apartment smelled like coffee and linseed oil. A half-built bench sat in the morning light. I showed them the boxing schedule on my fridge, the makerspace pass, Nacho's ridiculous raincoat. I'm not okay, I said, but I'm okay. They nodded like men who've seen worse, left me a card and told me to keep sanding. I did. Recovery was not a montage, it was a calendar with boring wins circled. Sleep without a movie of the service elevator. Groceries that turned into meals. 2 miles at a pace that would embarrass a mall walker. Tuesdays, jab crosshook. Thursdays, measure twice, cut once, then measure again because humility. Saturdays, hike a ridge and let wind take a shift carrying the weight. I took a long weekend west. Cheap flight, cheaper motel, a map with too much red dust and not enough names. At sunrise in Zion, a gust pushed through the switchbacks and I realized I hadn't checked my phone in hours. I took a single photo, not for Instagram, just to remind myself the sky doesn't need my permission to clear. Back home, Dom clapped my finished bench once, a carpenter's amen. Paige brought a plant I haven't killed yet. Mom switched my sheets like she was exorcising a room. Dad sat on the bench, bounced once and said, stable, like a verdict. If you're reading this at 2 a.m. with a stomach full of bees, here's what I learned the stupid, slow way. Your gut isn't jealous, it's a smoke alarm. Believe the quiet clicks. Document, don't detonate. Courts respect dates, not decibels. Point 1 Petty justice is enough. Make the rest of your life with both hands. Boundaries aren't cruelty. They're doors that open to oxygen. Find rituals that return you to yourself. Mine are boxing, wood, and dog snores. Forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same class. Don't let anyone switch the syllabus. I was insulted, obsessed with whether I was enough, and tempted to audition for a part in her chaos. I didn't get revenge. I got competent. I built a bench that doesn't wobble, a kitchen that smells like coffee, and a life quiet on purpose. The key hangs by the door, the dog snores like a metronome, and in the morning I pick up the rope, the plane, the pen, and touch the next color. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a